Hi, and welcome to this new episode of my ukulele video series Beyond the Chords. In this video series we're taking a look at various things a player can do to elevate their playing above just learning new chords. In this video we're going to be looking at ornamentation. Now ornamentation is the addition of little extra notes into melodies that, while they contribute a certain effect to the melody, they don't change the overall shape or melodic line of a tune. These notes often happen so quickly that you can't really tell what they even were, and you just get an overall effect, even if the notes didn't belong to the key that you're playing in. First thing I'm going to talk about is the concept of hammer-ons and pull-offs. Now this is a certain technique that originated with Baroque violin playing, where all these ornaments started, and they started becoming used in classical music. But they've developed over time, and they're used in a lot of rock music. You know, a lot of shredding has hammer-ons and pull-offs and things, and of course we can use them on the ukulele as well. They're a technique of creating notes without the use of the strumming or plucking hand at all. So obviously if I want to pluck a note such as C, I've plucked it, I've put my finger on the 3rd fret of the A string and I pluck like so. I can get a very nice sound. If I then had other notes, let's say then I can pluck those as well, but I could also hammer on and pull off those notes as well. With hammer-ons, what I'm essentially doing is I'm tapping my finger with such velocity and force that it lets the string ring, albeit not as loud as that pluck, but it lets the note ring nevertheless. So my plucking hand's out of the way, and you can hear that C note ringing. La, la. Whatever you hammer on, you'll always get the same note that you would have got if you'd plucked your finger on that string in the same fret. So I can pluck a C, I can hammer on a C. Same fret, same note, just a different effect. Different way of playing it. You can also pull off as well. It doesn't matter what fret you pull off of from, you always get the note that is below it. So if I pull off from this same C position, I actually get the A string note. So if I wanted that to pull off to a C, I'd have to have an anchor position there and pull off from somewhere above that C. So I could pull off from the E, for instance. There you go, I've got a C. The most famous use of an ornamentation, and indeed hammer-ons and pull-offs, is the trill. Now this uses both hammer-ons and pull-offs with equal effect. This is a trill. So that's a trill. What I'm doing there is essentially I have my written note, so say my note was a C, and if I was told by the music to trill over that C, what I'm doing is I'm having a rapid succession between that note and the note directly above it, so in this case a D flat or a C sharp. See, I'm not doing anything with my plucking hand. I'm doing a very quick hammer on and pull off. You can pluck if you want to, might give you a bit more volume, but you can do it without plucking as well. And that's a trill, so just two notes right next to each other playing very, very quickly, used in a lot of music to create suspense, like in a horror film. It sort of symbolises shaking and worry. A trill can last a very long time, like I've been playing in these previous examples. Often the longer it goes on, the more tension is built up, but it can just be used as a very quick passing little thing. So we've got the basic melody, and we've got the ornamented melody with a trill. Great. create something different. You still get that overall descending passage, da da da, but you get that little decoration in the middle with a trill. Da, 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 da. Those are two ways you can use trills, either in a long context or just as a little passing ornamentation. The speed at which you can play trills is often up to interpretation, and so you can play a trill very quickly, or you could play it a little bit slower. Both are as acceptable. It's a decoration. You do it how you want to do it. There's no sort of straightforward or correct way to play trills. As with all these ornaments, there's always an element of artist interpretation. As long as you get the melody right, then it's up to you how you want to decorate it. Moving on, mordants are a sort of natural progression from trills. It's like you going to do a trill, but you only do the additional note once, the chromatic note once. So here's the normal tune, and here's the tune with a mordant in the middle. So you're doing like a trill, but you're only going up to that E once. You can also go the other way with mordants, so you could have... So that's what they call a lower mordant or a reverse mordant, where you go down instead of up for the chromatic note. Extending on mordants, you can have turns as well, where you go up and then down, all sort of having your main note as a centre of gravity. So let's play that melody again using a slow motion turn, and then I'll speed it up. So the sped up is... You can also do a reverse turn as well, so go down and then up. And again, you can incorporate these turns and mordants and things in a long form or a shorter context, just to add some decoration, some extra little notes that again don't contribute to the melody but give a nice overall effect that can liven up and make more interesting your tune. So far we've looked at ornaments that can only really be applied to melody, but now for the rest of this video I'm going to take a look at some ornaments that can be applied to melody and chords as well. Grace notes and slides and things like that are another sort of ornament that is a bit more sort of notated, dictated by a composer. So you might see a note on a notation with a little note next to it. This is called a grace note, and there are lots of different types depending on the how long you want the grace note to be and how many there are. So a bar of 4/4 with 4 crotchets in would look like this. Now if you added some quaver grace notes, then if they were normal notes, then you'd actually end up with 6 whole notes in total, making it a bar of 6/4. However, because these are smaller notes, then you end up with just a normal bar of 4/4 with these extra little decorative notes that don't take up any space, so the other notes can still sound as crotchets, but they still have decoration that makes them interesting. A grace note might be played like this. So if I was to take that melody and take a grace note to the extreme, so I'm just doing little slides, and this is sort of something else a bit similar to pickups and hammer-ons and pull-offs and things like that. So you you pluck the first note, but then the slide is done with the finger. There's no the second part isn't done with the plucking hand. So that's a grace note. You might not use a grace note on every note, but you might do something like... You can do these slides and grace notes and things with chords as well. So a trick I like to use, for instance, is if I'm playing a D7, I like to slide into it by going from the D flat 7 and sliding into it like that. And now again, I'm just doing one movement with my right hand, my plucking, strumming hand. And then the actual slide is done with the left hand. Now the effect is very quick, and so if I was in the key of C, for instance, the chord D flat 7 just doesn't fit for reasons that I explain in other videos, such as chord theory. However, because the slide is so quick, the D flat 7 doesn't have time to ring as a dissonant chord. There isn't time for it to be sort of highlighted as not fitting with the rest of the chords in a song. Instead, you just get this cool boom effect, which is what your ear is actually drawn to. So you could be in a song. If I had simply paused on that D flat 7 for a long time, it sounds a bit weird if you hold on it, so the whole point of this slide is that it happens very quickly, so that you can get to more harmonically functional chords instead. Thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment as well if you would be so kind. It really does help me get these videos out here. If you have any questions, and if you'd like to learn more things that I'm not going to post on this channel, why don't you consider having a Skype lesson with me? There is no better way to become an effective learner and an outstanding performer than having a one-to-one lesson with either myself or just any ukulele teacher. Talking about and sharing musical experiences with someone who knows your name and someone who can tailor lessons to your exact needs is the best way to learn and make terrific progress. In lessons we can look at new things or any existing repertoire you might be working on, and we'll look at how you can improve your playing to unlock all that hidden potential that you have in your fingers. Alternatively, why don't you leave a tip? My PayPal is in the link in the description below, and why don't you support me on Patreon? I'm now doing exclusive packages for people who want to gain extra content, see these videos early, and get some bonus content exclusive to Patreon. Go to the link in the description to find out how you can get all that extra content with just a small financial support. Check out my website for public performance and public workshop dates, and why don't you go ahead and like and follow my Facebook and Instagram pages while you're at it too. All of those links are in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on Beyond the Chords.